Well, is it real?
Is it real? Isn't that a song?
Oh yeah, that is a song. Is it real? But no, we're gonna cover whether post traumatic slavery syndrome is it a real thing. Um, but
Hello.
yeah. Oh, hey, hello, hello, hello.
He is really excited tonight, you guys. Can't wait to get it out.
Yeah, your partner Frankie P.
Maria
Yeah,
B.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got TikTok over here, we got Instagram and Facebook right here, we got YouTube in front of us. So let's have at it. Well, today we were looking at video, and that's where this live came about. So as you know, just to set the scene. As you know, we're building towards our push for Blackout the Fourth. We've launched Blackout the Fourth. It is live. It is currently live. And so what we're doing with these videos in between time leading up to Blackout the Fourth, we have decided that we're going to make sure that we are spiritually pure. So the videos we're going to deal with being spiritually pure, psychologically tough, which is today's. We're going to deal with psychology. What is some of the psychology of blacks? What can drive us forward with some of the things that may can hold us back. We're going to educate you about what we're doing for Blackout the Fourth, just to touching some of the highlights right now. On July 3rd, we're going to be strategic about the money that we spend. We're going to direct it to black or allied companies. We're going to direct that spending on July 3rd towards those companies. And on July the 4th, we're going to black out the 4th. Simply because why did we choose that day is because it is not our Independence Day. It is an Independence Day, just not for us. So we've decided that we're going to take that day and we're going to use it as a day of service, a day of self-reflection, and a day of securing our financial future. So psychologically, we're going to build ourselves up, educational, and then economics. A lot of the videos that you're going to see are going to deal with getting, typically from our standpoint, getting you out of debt and paying off your debt quicker. If we can bring in some other experts that can help you work on your credit so your interest rates can go down, we're going to utilize that vehicle too. If we can bring you on some experts who can show you how to start your own business, our particular backgrounds is typically in real estate. Maria is a property manager. She owns her own company. So if you would like to know how to grow a seven-figure income, a seven-figure business, this is the lady. She can talk to you about doing that. So we have to psychologically build ourselves up. I'm excited that we did have, what was it, on the 28th. So I was just a tad bit not excited, but I must say I had to tamper my expectations because I was expecting it to be like Christmas at first when we first thought about having this when they mentioned the 28th, the blackout on the 28th. It's like, okay, so it's going to be Christmas. Nobody's going to be out there. I'm going at it
Well,
from
that's a contradiction.
well,
Christmas,
well
people are out.
a federal holiday where no one's on the street. So my mindset was
Yeah.
thinking, because I knew I wasn't spending any money. I knew I wasn't spending. I got my gas on the 28th. We filled up with
On the
gas.
27th.
The 27th on the 27th, we filled our tanks out with gas. We prepared how we were going to attack it, as far as what are we going to eat. We're not. Because what day did it fall on?
It was a Friday. It was just last Friday.
Okay, it was on a Friday. Yeah, so it was pretty easy. It was pretty easy for us because we have our eat out Thursdays. We
On Thursdays.
on Thursdays we eat out. We did ride around to some of the malls just to see how. I guess.
We just looked at cars in parking lot. We were too lazy to get out. But I did see some other TikToks where people were actually walking through the stores, and they looked pretty vacant. So I think it was supported. Not everybody is going to support or care enough. Not yet anyway. That's how I feel about it. I think as things keep going right, things keep going in a downward spiral, more people will get on board, more people are going to be looking for help, more people are going to want to support, because I really don't think that some generations are in tune to what's actually happening. I think that my generation, and what is it, forward, and older than us,
Your generation, yeah,
yeah.
older or younger?
Older.
Older than back. Our generation back.
Yeah, our generation back. We did not prepare our future generations, for something like this. And I think a lot of them are not believing what's actual, or not listening, or the impact isn't there for them to take this serious. And I think that, we might have to call on the grandmas and the great grandmas and
tell some stories.
To tell,
yeah,
some stories
absolutely.
of what things were like before 1965.
Before 1965.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really have to come up through the struggle. I came up with the integration. For me, I was the first ninth grade class that went to our high school. So we started really integrating. Actually, we probably started integrating a few years before that, because
a lot of years before.
Yeah, I remember my sister going. I went to Friendly High School. My sister went there. My cousin went there. So I was when I came from DC to Maryland. The integration, it was to me. I didn't have an issue with it. My next door neighbor, where everybody in the neighborhood at that time was white. My next door neighbor was white. The guy next door to him was white. The boys across the street were white. 2 doors up were white. Also, all my friends, when I first got out to Maryland,
they weren't his friends.
Okay, well, the guys that I knew that we would play, that we would play. I thought they were my friends. I literally thought they were my friends, and I didn't want to. My mindset wasn't even to that where I thought any different. So just so you know, for me, my whole family was DC recreation.
I mean, and just by you saying that and not really recognizing what's going on, then I don't think it was an issue for your family, or they did not discuss those type of things with you.
Correct.
And
no, they didn't.
Why not? Why was that? Were they saying, okay, we are now living in this predominantly white neighborhood, we're accepted now and things should be okay? So I don't really have to go into all the things that I struggled and the separation, can't drink at the water fountain, sitting in the back of the bus, and all those type of things that I know that our parents went through to a certain degree, because this is the East, and they may not have done.
You mean in the North? We're more
north. In Northeast. Yeah, so it may not have been as prevalent here. I don't think so. And that, too, could have been the reason. I know there was, prejudice and racism and things like that, but was it right in your face like it was in the South during the same period of time?
Yeah.
Because my parents did not talk about those things. You saw things on television from time to time, and the way I grew up, you didn't look at a lot of news or adult things, okay? And those things were not discussed in our house. It wasn't until I got much older, teenager, that my parents started to bring things to light for me. I must have came a couple years, I don't know, a year or two after you did.
No, we came the same time.
We did? How do you know?
Because I was in the class with your sister. We were in the same sixth grade class.
When did you start there?
In the 6th grade.
Because I started in the 7th.
Correct. And your sister was in the 6th. No,
she wasn't. She was in the 5th grade.
She was in the 5th. Okay. So you guys were out there before us.
Okay.
You were out there before us. So, but let me ask you this.
Yes.
When was the first time you remember feeling understanding or feeling prejudice against you?
I don't know. Are you speaking of when we first came out to Maryland?
Yeah, when you first came out to Maryland. One, when you first came out to Maryland, and then two, for the first time as an adult.
When I first came out, I really didn't feel anything. It wasn't, or I was not. I was oblivious to it. I didn't know. I wasn't told, watch out for this, or they're going to say that, or nobody ever called me any names, or nobody chased me home from school. I did have friends or people that I associated with that lived in, next door, my neighbors. They did play with us. And if they didn't, I was the type of kid where if you don't like me, I don't like you either. So I just did it. I just mind my business and dealt with who I dealt with. But my neighbors were pretty nice. I think they were very curious. And so that's why they were nice, because they were curious and wanted to know about these black folks that moved to the neighborhood. My mother was a very friendly type of person. That's not me. With the neighbors. So she and the neighbors.
They actually brought us some fruit, some bakery goods when we first moved into the
And they probably, I think they did the same thing for us. But like I said, I grew up with my parents. We were seen and not heard. So we didn't do too much interacting in adult type stuff. We did play outside. Racism or prejudice, probably I felt that way going into the government, certain things, but I was never, I never had any type of racism thrown in my face. Oh, get the people out, get those people out of here, anything like that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the environment in which we're living in. We're kind of in this county, Prince George's County, Maryland, is predominantly black. And it has been for many years. And I think that we're kind of sheltered here. If you ask me, what do what do I mean by shelter? We don't get the same type of prejudice or racist situations in Prince George's County.
As often, right? Because
there are police brutality from time to time here. But when was the last time? I never known anybody to have a cross burned in their yard.
Correct.
Or anything of that nature here. So I think it's a little bit different when you live in a predominantly African American area, and a lot of people live here. A lot of wealthy people live in this county. So
sit up just a little bit. There you go.
Like this?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now, for me, my first time that I recall and being a child and running and experiencing racism towards myself, my parents were sending me and my cousins up to 7-Eleven. We were going up to the corner store to get something for them, probably some cigarettes, I don't know. But we had the money. It was me and two of my girl cousins. We were walking up the street, and remember I told you that both my neighbors on either side were white, and the kids were white. Directly across the street to our left, there was one white, but two houses up on the right and left, the couple of kids were white too, and we played together. So as we're walking up to go to the store, one of my friends, his father, was sitting on the porch, and he says, "Get out of here, you damn coon!" And we looking at each other like, is he talking to us? I don't know. I don't think he's talking to us. And so we look at each other. We keep walking. He said, "Hey, goddamn coon, get out of here, you goddamn coon!" I don't know what it is. But what we did know, because I was so nervous, I went back to my house. Went back to the house, and we got my parents, because I went to school. I thought he was calling me someone else, because I went to school with a guy named David Coon. And so I thought he was just calling me the wrong name, right?
Poor baby.
I
And see,
thought,
we live right around the corner from each other, and but like I said, we didn't leave our street. We stayed in our yard. That was my reality. It wasn't until I got older that I was able to walk somewhere, out of my neighborhood. But go ahead,
yeah,
finish your story.
yeah. No, when I brought my parents up there, so and my father, he's a big guy, 6 foot tall. My mother, she's like 5'10", so she's a nice, pretty sized woman, and both of them coming up the street, and I think my cousins, they were, since we were having a cook, yeah, we had to be having a cookout because their parents were there too, and so you just see these people, all these black people walking up the street to your house. So he runs right into the house. He jumps off the porch, runs into the house, and his wife comes out. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's just drunk. He's been drinking. Blah, blah, blah.
Truth comes out when you're drunk.
That's what my parents said. The truth. But I didn't. Even when I was going through it, I felt the negative vibes from him, but I didn't understand the words that he was actually calling me a derogatory term. And as an adult, the first time that the image that stays burned in my mind is when I was in the Marines, and we were running track. Well, we were on track and field, and when you're playing sports, is either you make it or you don't make it. Everything's pretty cut and dry. Pretty cut and dry. So if you throw this far, or you jump this high, or you run this fast, and you meet these metrics, everything's taken care of. If you don't meet those metrics, you go home. We already knew the rules. So as we were running our metric for a sprint, we had to run a 10-4 or better. You run a 10-4, you're on the team. You run lower than 10-4, you're going home. So we always had to run our meets, and then they kept our times. So all of us met our quota. 5 of us. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, five. I think 5 of us met our quota. At least I know 4 of us did because we had a 4x1 relay. But a couple of the white guys, a couple of those guys didn't make the time. 10-7, 10-8, but you didn't make the time. So everyone else who didn't meet the time or throw as far or jump as high, they went home. But for whatever these guys, they kept them on the team and said, "Oh, we want to have some. We just want to give them some training."
Did they want some diversity, some DEI?
Some DEI. Maybe they were the DEI.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Maybe they were the DEI. So, but that was the first taste that I had of it. I said, "Oh, you know me. I'm the fair guy. Everything needs to be fair. That's not fair."
True.
And my eyes started opening to the how people were we were treated differently just based on how we. What's that?
Remember, and it still sticks with me because sometimes I feel like saying it about people. My friend Sean and I, we were coming from Fat Tuesday, so it had to be down at the Union Station when Fat Tuesdays was open.
Okay, in DC.
It was in the 90s.
Okay.
We got on the metro at wasn't Addison Road, Central Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
I think Central Avenue Metro Station, and this little white man got on too, and we were just standing there, and the elevator was going up. So he gets off and he says, "Rude, crude, and socially unacceptable." So Sean, and he walks off and he keeps going. Sean and I looked at each other and was like, was he talking about us? But and we were just shocked because it was said so fast and he jumped off and kept going. And we were quite surprised. And that stuck with me. I said, little racist. So,
well, let me ask you, how did you start, did you start treating people differently at that time?
No. I didn't treat anybody different.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew, I was just aware at that point. I felt like they all probably feel that type of way.
Okay.
And at the same time, I felt like, okay, since since they all feel that way, I have to make sure that I'm paying attention, that that I really listen and observe,
Okay.
just to make sure that I protect myself, because you just never know.
Well, let me ask you. Remember the interview that we were looking at today with I think it was Harvey. Forgot her name, but
What is it, Brenda? Brenda Harvey or something like
think.
that. Anyway, she has a podcast.
yeah, and she was interviewing Dr. Joy DeGray.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about. She was talking about
She has a book.
post traumatic. That was the PTSS, post traumatic slavery syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what the PTSS is on the title that you're looking at. So one of the things we're looking at as far as African Americans is how have we been, I guess how have we been systemized, put into a system and accept that? How do you see that?
Put into a system.
Yeah, that when she was talking about us being in the system.
I think it's more about assimilation, trying to fit in, trying to work and just live in this environment with people who don't like us, or people who believe that they're better than us because we were once slaves. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is, in my opinion, far from the truth. I don't know. I can be angry about it sometimes, especially now with the climate, the political climate. This uproar has come back in me. When I was younger, I know things were going on in the 90s that weren't acceptable to me, and I felt like, okay, I gotta really, not be militant, but I gotta really pay attention and just understand what's going on. So for me, I don't know. I think in the last 20 years, since we've been together, boo, be 20 years in April. For the last 20 years, I think that things have been very calm in this country. We got the black president elected, and things seem like, oh, we've arrived. Everything, we're equal. And we're not. Ever since his presidency, things have been slowly going downhill, in my opinion. And my thought pattern was, okay, the way that things were popping up in the political arena, I just felt like they feel they will never, ever allow that to happen again. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just the way that they treated him and the things that were said. Even this president now, it talks about how bad of a presidency it was, which it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Now there, you got black folks talking about how bad it was and what he didn't do anything for us. But you got to ask yourself, what could he do? How much could he really have gotten done? Even though he was the president, because the president, he can only do so much without the assistance of Congress and
but so how and this from my standpoint is why I'm so adamant about this movement is because I'm looking at our actual freedoms being at stake. Mm-hmm. Our voting freedoms. I was having a conversation with someone, and they were like, oh, well, the 14th Amendment, we have the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. But yes, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution was challenged as soon as it was put in place. A month later, it was challenged. 3 months later, the Supreme Court took it up, and it had to because they took it back after that month. It had to go up to the Supreme Court. So, can it be changed if it's challenged? We don't know. We don't know that answer. And in the climate that we're in, I'm concerned that quote unquote birthright freedoms. That's where my stance is. When we have birthright freedoms, we are citizens by lineage. because we have the lineage which gives us citizenship. if you can take away or chip away at that 14th Amendment, which is what I see was happening, the 14th Amendment is being chipped away, you can slowly but surely take away freedoms for people that look like us. You know, they look like us. Those freedoms could be easily taken away, and I could see that. So before, the visual I like to use is you have a ball at the top of the hill, and then once it starts pushing and it just tumbles and it goes down, it builds up momentum and it gets so large. Well, before the ball gets so large and you're trying to stop it at the bottom of the hill and it runs you over, my concept is stop it as soon as it gets a little momentum, stop it right there. And that's why I am. I wouldn't want to take the word of someone would trust me, that trust me bro, that trust me bro stuff is out the window for me. I'm done with that. I need something on paper. You need to give me a writing. But I thought about this too the other day. A contract is only as valuable as the person honoring the handshake. No, it's not. I said a contract is only as honorable as the person who made the contract itself or who wrote the contract. So if they don't have any honor on their side, then
Isn't that what Zelensky just went through?
the contract itself is right. And so
He had no guarantees.
You don't have any, and so
but he was supposed to take the deal.
If you're and if you're not honorable, the person who's making that contract, if he's not honorable, the contract is no good anyway. So I don't want to go on this little trust me, bro. I want to solidify it. Whatever we can do to strengthen the 14th Amendment, I'm with it. Let's go.
So what is so you brought up this post-traumatic slave syndrome. What did you get from that podcast?
That
is it a feeling? Is it an emotion? Is it
I believe it's
reaction?
That's a good question. As far as those words, I'm trying to figure out which one is best fits. But excuse me. But the way that I saw the podcast, what stood out to me was the image about the bank, when you have the kids, they walk into the bank, especially if you thought about it.
I mean, it's just about is discipline. What basically, we teach our children to behave, to stand still, to stay with us, and others to allow their children to run free. And so our children are looking at these children like, how come I got to stand here? And
how can they break the rules and no one says anything to them?
Right. And that's what she considered a post-traumatic stress.
Post-traumatic slavery syndrome.
Yeah. Because we've been taught to be obedient. We've been taught, to rein it in, to be quiet, to be shut
submissive.
Up, yes. And it's in us. And when we talk to our kids, are we ready to get the belt? We ready to punish for certain things? You can't talk back. You can't speak your mind. Just like I said, we were children that were seen and not heard. But that wasn't the case for other children growing up. They were able, and you see it all the time on television with these kids, and now they're trying to push that in on these black shows where the child speaks their mind and so forth and so on. And I'm sure that some of us out there, including myself, like that. No, they no. She would not. I would have snatched her up. She said something like that, and you get kind of.
She can't come out the mouth sideways to you.
Right, but they're showing on television. They're allowing it to be the case, white or black, Asian, whatever.
That's
these children
acceptable.
Should be right. It should be accepted. But I know for myself and for Frank, if if our kids did something like that, we're gonna say something to them. They're gonna be punished, or they might get a hand, or where that is no longer acceptable, and they're trying to mainstream America is trying to make it normalize it, and we're still rejecting it. And so this doctor was saying that is a sign of, what is it?
PTSS, post-traumatic slavery syndrome.
Something is, I don't know if I want to say as small as that, but something on that scale.
It's what builds up. It's unconsciously we're taught that. And it's not anything that's at the conscious level. It's just that subconsciously we've been going through it for so long that it just becomes second nature. So that one of the analogies she used about they told the teacher, they did a study, and they had 160 teachers, and the task was to find the behavior that wasn't acceptable, the bad behavior, just locate the bad behavior. And so what they noticed is in that the majority of the eyes, up to 90% of the eyes, what they would do is they would go over to the black boy. And then they psychologically would gravitate to look for a bad behavior because they've been trained. And unconsciously, we as a society, we are like that now. We're trained to psychologically, if we think something is bad, we look over here. And we already know if you want to find something, you will find it. You will find it. The slightest thing that they will do wrong, you're going to punish that behavior. Whereas the behavior could be happening over here, and no one even pays attention to it. Mm-hmm. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And so that's for me, that's a little frustration for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Did you order that book?
No.
I'm gonna order it. I want to read it. I think it's very important for us to kind of get into our own heads and our own minds and see what we could change about the way we think about the way we do things. Mm-hmm. Which leads up to just what's going on in our society right now amongst our own people. I think that we need to better pay attention to what is it?
Politics.
Politics. And I wasn't one to pay attention until when did my mother move in here? In 2020.
Yeah, right before.
She really got me interested in politics because I wasn't. I listened. I paid attention. I did my duty. But I'm really into it now, and just seeing the back and forth and how the two you can read and hear the same thing, mm-hmm. but two people can read into it differently and come up with a different result, and it's just amazing to me. And sometimes I question it's like, okay, is it me? Did I just hear what I heard? And then you go and you look on social media and it's like, yeah, the left is this and they're crazy, and we're saying the same thing about them. I'm like, okay, let me just, and for me, I try to look at both sides and then make a decision on what I'm going to believe, and not. I don't think that everything that's happening politically is bad, but I think it's more bad than it is good. Okay. So what about the 4th?
Okay. Well, the blackout the 4th again.
What day is it?
July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And if if they don't want to move on July 4th, we'll do it again on August 4th, September 4th, and we'll continue to do it until we get the movement we would like on this voting rights bill. But
so what do you want them to do?
On the 3rd of July, on the 3rd of July, we're asking that you have targeted spending. And the targeted spending is directly to Black or allied businesses that's put money into their economy. If you want to spend your money in the other economy, that's fine. I get it. But what we're all stressing is let's make sure we get the money into our community first with businesses that align with our values and whether they're black or whether they're ally businesses, let's fund them first, and let's help those businesses out. So on July 3rd, we're asking that you spend your money directly with them. We have $26.5 billion, $26.5 billion daily, $1.2 trillion yearly, $26.5 billion daily that we have the ability to affect the economy. Even if just 10% of us did that, imagine how we still could, what momentum we could have. So we're asking that you just on July 3rd spend money directly in your economy. You can help out Black media. You can help out your favorite podcaster. You can spend your money on a business. You can buy. Get your hair done. Whatever, whether it's a product or a service. Spend your money there. And then on the 4th of July, we're asking that you don't spend any money at all. The 3rd of July, focused, targeted spending. The 4th of July, do not spend any money at all. And if we can continuously do this on a monthly basis, 3rd of July, targeted spending. The 3rd of the month, targeted spending. The 4th of the month, nothing. 3rd of the month, targeted spending. The 4th of the month, nothing. 3rd of the month, targeted spending. The 4th of the month, nothing. And we continue, we keep it up. So, I'm going to land a plane. We got you. Take the pledge. Take the pledge.
Where's the website?
Take the pledge. You go to www.blackoutthefourth. That's 4th. Blackoutthefourth. That's 4th.com. Simply take the pledge. Name, email address, phone number. Then on there, there's a list now, and it's continuously building of partnered and preferred businesses that we are partnered or we prefer to that you can consider utilizing and targeting your dollars to them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's it. That's it. You good?
Yeah. If you know of any Black businesses that you want us to add to the list,
yes.
Let us know. If you have any questions, shoot us
an email. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all to like, subscribe. I'm terrible. Like, subscribe, and share this. Okay. Once you do take the pledge, if you post a video that either has to do with becoming psychologically tough, spiritually pure, or educating on what we're doing or about economics, just post that video and use the hashtag #BlackoutTheFourth. Anything that's positive spiritually, educationally, or economically, psychologically, hashtag #BlackoutTheFourth, and boom, we can get this, continue to expand this movement. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is your partner, Frankie P.
Maria P.
Hey, when you change your perspective, you change your life. When you change your perspective, you change your life. When you change your perspective, Blackout the 4th, the launch is live. Make sure you take the pledge, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to change your life. Peace. Appreciate you, TikTok. Let me hit.
This?
I'm gonna stop this.
The food might be burning out.
Oh, okay.